Like, welcome back.
Right? Part four now, almost. Yeah.
Almost, yeah. I'm gonna jump right in into the
Let's
deep
do it.
end.
Jump right into the deep end. Ooh, okay.
What's one character you'd love to revisit with who you are now?
Ooh, I'm gonna need a second to process that. A character I'd want to play. Now, sorry, repeat the question one more time.
What's one character you'd love to revisit with being the person like you are now, with all the knowledge that you have now?
Hmm. The first one that I think of is gosh, I can't even think of that character's name. That's so sad. Um, all I can think about is the line that I have in it, Axel, Axel, which is from Stockholm Boys. Because I think now that I know what I know in terms of just who I am, I've done a lot more self-healing and work on myself. And I think that I would be able to be more vulnerable with the character. I think when I did that project, um, I was with some heavy hitters with Shane and with Preston Fox, and it was a really great production team. Top to bottom, is an all-star crew, and I think being more grounded now in my real life, I think I could bring a little bit more um, authenticity and again vulnerability, just being able to sit in the emotion of it because it was a queer film, and I have lots of queer friends, lots of I've even I have my own journey with all of that as well. And while I don't identify as emotionally queer, it's something that I think being who I am now, and going back to even just the process of acting, taking more time with it, doing more research, having more conversations about how somebody would feel in this situation, and how they would present it. I think that would be, I would love another go at that role because I think I could bring even more heart to it, even more passion, and again, opening my heart and my soul to that character and allowing him to be
Mm.
super affected by the situations at hand. So I would love a rego at that. That's a great question. Great question.
I thought I would just like straight off say that one. I was like, I've been
Yeah,
waiting to
that's a
ask you that.
phenomenal question. That's a great one. The other one that I will say, I'm gonna throw in a little two-parter here for you, is gonna be from My Poor Husband, and I don't remember the rest of the title. But it was with Michael Kelton and Mary. I played Derek, and I was the evil guy. Um, and I had a lot of fun with it, but I think again, now knowing more about the more villain characters of Verticals and how big they can be, I think I would love another go at being even bigger. Bring even more energy to the role rather than playing it so cerebrally of like, oh, it's his motivation. No, it's just this guy is just larger than life. Um, so that's the second part of that question.
That is okay. Like my next one is, what is the easiest emotion for you to tap into on camera?
Easiest emotion to tap into on camera. I like that we added on camera because in real life, I know it'd be happiness. Um, I think honestly on camera, it's that brooding, it's the intense, it's the I don't want to say anger because you don't want to play at anger. Um, I know what it is. Jealousy. That is by far the easiest, just taking it in the eyes and looking at somebody like, you have what I want. And just settling into this.
It's cool.
Yeah, right. And so it just settling into this, just like, I'm gonna make you pay for taking what I love. Like that's just so easy for me to just because I'm a very protective person in real life. And so I think being able to, but I'm not an aggressive person. I would
Mm.
rather resolve conflict and de-escalate before. But on camera, you have total permission to just do what And I love getting that like really intense, kind of stare into it. So jealousy and maybe heartbreak too. Maybe just some like shattered, for something like that where it's just
You're
like you
not doing
just
a self-tape, stop it.
yeah. I love acting. I'm an actor. That's what I do. But so yeah, I think either the extreme of jealousy of you have something that I want and the heartbreak of just because again, I unfortunately I've had moments of heartbreak in my real life and I think that that's just it's an emotion everyone's gone through, whether it be with another human, a family member, a pet, or just a job, a situation. And it's one of those it's one of those that you avoid in real life. So when you get to be on camera and tap into it, you just get to let it just flood. So jealousy and heartbreak.
And what I noticed when you were doing like your little bits,
Yeah, yeah,
it's like your eyes, like I don't even know what it was. Like now that I'm like here,
yeah.
your eyes are like really like piercing blue and I can like
Oh,
see it.
thank
And I was like
you.
the intent and I'm like, dude.
Acting was in the eyes. And what's funny is I was a theater major. I had a BFA out of Texas, and so I'm used to playing for grandma in the back row, right? And when I got out to Los Angeles, I quickly learned that film acting is the complete opposite. It's subtlety, it's everything's in the eyes. And so, and it actually elevated my acting because instead of, okay, I know the emotion, I know what I'm playing at, it was I have to play that internally. I have to have the thoughts of the character. I have to see the person that I'm breaking up with. You have to have the thoughts. You have to be present in that
Mm.
moment. And that was a huge learning curve coming out of acting school. But thank
I
you.
don't think
I'll,
I'd be
I'll
able
take
to
the
do what
compliment
you
with blue
do.
eyes.
Like, I
I
don't think
think
I'd be able
I
to do
think
what you do.
everyone can
I,
act. I think everyone can act.
no.
You just have to get out of your own way and tap into it. And it's tough because what a lot of people don't realize is it's this close up and there's all this emotion, but you don't realize that there's 15 people that are around you. And, maybe you've just come off of
Mm.
lunch and somebody's had a smoke break. So there's kind of there's a smell in the room. There's people who are shuffling around. So it really requires you to just forget everything, be present, be in that moment. And that's what I love doing this for, because you just get to forget the whole world and just be not to be romantic about the job, but
No, I get it. I get it. Well, next one is like sort of along the lines of like the both of like the past two questions.
okay.
It's like, do you revisit past performances to reflect on the emotions you felt while acting?
Another great question. And I think that would vary from actor to actor. I'm somebody who, when I first started my acting career back in high school, I did a lot of theater, even in college, did a lot of theater. And then once I started doing film, I was one of those that I would rewatch my performance incessantly. I would go back, oh, that one little eye twitch didn't make sense. And I would pick things apart. And then, going forward, okay, don't do that or do this or more, And then I realized I was so in my head. And then I don't know, exactly when it was, sometime about around last year, I did a short film with my buddy. We have a production company called All You Can Films. It's on YouTube. And we do, comedy, horror, thriller, all the things. And so I think when we first made that one and we produced our first short, I didn't have time to think about my performance. And and so I just was like, you know what? Let's see what we know. I don't even know if I know the script at this point because I had all these other things going on. We were doing some improv and stuff. And then my buddy even asked me, he was like, well, how did you feel about the performance? And I was like, honestly, I kind of blacked out. Like I don't really remember, like I don't think about it anymore because at this point now I've come to realize that once it's on camera, it's there forever. Like I can't change that. And so the worst thing for me, and my ego would be to go back and just because we're all our own worst critic, right? And so to go back and then pick apart your own performance and then hear from somebody else, Gage, that was amazing. That was so fun. You stole the show, this and that. Oh, okay. So instead of fighting that, I've just decided I'll believe it, and if somebody
Yeah.
likes it, great. If somebody doesn't like it, great. I'm just going to give what I can give. So to answer your question a little more succinctly, No, I do not go back and watch my performances. In fact, I'm almost at the point now where I'm like, I'd rather not, like unless it's something that I was like maybe like I'm trying something new here or I'm taking a risk. I want to see how that played out. If the director's happy, I'm happy. If the visions align and that's what you needed and it wasn't exactly the way I thought it should go, that's unfortunately that's not the actor's decision. So I've definitely learned over the I don't know 30 of these that I've done to and again we work so quickly, right? So it's like
Mm.
you don't have time to think about that last scene you just shot because you're now shooting the end of the film, and now I have to get
And I
into a
think that'd be
whole
like a good thing for you.
yeah,
Like,
exactly.
yeah, because
Yeah,
you're saying that you revisited them, or like now you don't have time to like
right,
even
exactly.
like pick apart your performance because
And I
there's no
think
time to do any prep.
right, and I think the other thing to that too is it really lends itself towards being present. I'm not
Mm,
thinking about God, that was so bad. Like, I hope this one's not, I hope I'm doing better. It's like, I'm gonna give all that I can give, and if it's great, cool. If it's not, I'll hear about it.
mm,
And I think it helps with the confidence because it's
mm.
like I, as Gage, may have thought that performance was absolute trash. That was terrible. I wasn't prepared. I wasn't in the moment. And then all of a sudden, people are like, that was the best thing I've ever watched in my entire life. So it's like beauty's in the eye of the beholder, right? And so
Exactly.
I'm not the audience, so I don't get to choose what you think. I may go out there and think that
Yeah.
was the best damn performance I've ever done. And then someone's gonna be like, that was the fakest thing I've ever seen. And so it's like, okay. So I think at the end of the
Yeah.
day, I'm gonna prep it as much as I can, plant my seed, and if a big old oak tree grows, awesome. If it dies in the ground, oh well. There's going to be another time. There's going to be more to do, and um, yeah, I think again, it just comes back down to the confidence of I'm going to let my performance be my performance, um, and rather than taking notes off of watching your own film, take the notes off of how it felt in the moment. How was it received with other actors, after a scene?
Mm,
Hey man, that was really great. Oh yeah, I felt that connection, this and that. I was just on a project with Cayman Cardiff and I was playing his business manager and we were kind of rehearsing a scene right before we filmed it. And we were short on time. Like we had 30 minutes to get this scene in. And so we knew we didn't have many takes. And I just remember we went over the lines, run it. And so I'm like, okay, not trying to put too much on it. Like, we don't want to force any bits. And then because both he and I had that kind of openness for exploration within the scene, we said action and we found so many great new moments that just came to life. And at the end of the scene, I was like, dude, that was great because the way you gave that to me, I didn't even think about that. But in the moment, I was like, oh, nope, that's actually a joke. That's not for real. Because I call him an asshole in this thing. And I'm like, oh, that's him just being like, you asshole, rather than being like, you ass, and it changes so therefore, I couldn't have controlled that performance. If I would have looked at other tape and been like, "Oh, I need to do this in this scene," I wouldn't have been open to, "Oh, that actually meant something entirely different," and that it played even better. So having the ability to be playful within a scene, I think, for me, watching myself back doesn't lend to being open in a scene to find new things.
mm.
Thank you for coming to my
Thank you. Yeah, I was gonna say thank you. Like, no, that was fine. That was completely fine.
I'm,
But holy, it's just my brain's braining.
yeah. No, and that's what I love about acting. I mean, there's just it can never be boring. I mean, you could let it be
No,
boring and
not at
stay on
all.
stagnant, but there's always something to find. And that's what I just
Mm.
absolutely love about this industry is that it's
Yep.
just you could be on set for the every day for a year and it's never the same, ever.
Mm. Oh, I can imagine. What's your go-to way to prep for a scene?
To prep for a scene, not a character, a scene. Okay. Well, to answer that, I kind of have to go back to so the way I prep is I like to go holistically for the character first. So I'm going to figure out what is this character's biggest motivation, intention, what is his relationship to everybody, how does he feel about these people, so that when I get to a scene, it's not okay, I need to figure out everything of the scene. It's like, okay, what is my character? What do I want in this scene? And so for, Derek and my poor husband, he wants attention. He wants to be the center stage. So rather than coming in and being about, oh, I'm telling you about all the money I'm making, it's I'm telling you how important I am. And so it's going to change the way I speak. It's going to change the way I hold myself. And so usually right before a scene, and again, this comes more from my training from college, is you just have that diving board thought. So what is Derek thinking about as he's walking into this home about to interrupt this dinner? He's thinking, they're gonna love me. And then that's it. And again, before I see it, I'll look over the lines. Okay, I know the words. And then even if, moments before it, this will probably happen till the day I die. Nerves are always a part, right? If the day I'm not nervous will be the day I stop acting, because then it means I don't care. So usually to calm those nerves, it's let's see what we know. I'm gonna have to trust that I've done the prep for this character and for the scene, and then we're gonna go play with it. And that kind of lends itself to that previous question of not watching tape before, because it's not going to be the same preparation as the project before, because I'm always learning, I'm always trying new things, I'm always trying to break my own rules and not have a rigid mind. So to prep for a scene, especially like the night before, if we know we're going to be shooting certain things, one of my favorite tools is music. So if I'm going to have like a really sad breakup scene, or something, I'll call on, it's a very Stanislavski method. I'll call on, my own personal experiences. When did I have a heartbreak? When did I go through that? I'll listen to songs from that time. And again, it takes a little bit of craft as an actor to use your own personal stuff, because sometimes it's hard to pull yourself out of those emotions. You get into a spiral. So you have to know how to pull yourself out of those things. Um, but the very first one that I ever did, um, Love at Midnight, Crystal St. John, Mark Vega, phenomenal, phenomenal vertical. Um, I have a moment where I'm begging her to stay married to me and to be mine. And so, I went back and I was listening to music right before that, and I'm having these thoughts of this person that I wanted to bring back, and this relationship that I had that was so beautiful. And then you're thinking, then you hear action, you go right into it, and you're so emotionally charged with your own stuff, but then you put it through the filter of the character and you let his words come out. And sometimes that works really well, and sometimes you bog yourself up a little bit much, and you're like, "Oh no, that was too much. I'm actually crying." I remember a quick story. I did Phantom of the Opera in high school, and I got to play the Phantom. And there's this moment where, it's kind of ruining the plot, but if you haven't seen Phantom by now, that's on you. So there's a moment where, the Phantom has this big medley, and he goes down to the monkey, the little thing that has the music box, and he's like, hide your face or the world will never find you. And then Christine comes out, and he's like, oh my gosh, my love, Christine. And he comes over to Christine, and he says, Christine, I love you. And then after that, she puts the wedding ring back in his hand, which is her saying no. And I remember on stage being like feeling, as Eric, as the Phantom, feeling crushed in that moment. And then Gage felt crushed. And I'm only 17 at this point. And so I start crying. Like Gage starts crying. And then I had to quickly pull myself out of that, because I go, I have to hit a high A flat after this. Like I can't be crying, because if I'm crying, I can't sing that high note. And so that was when I kind of learned, like, there's the character emotion and there's Gage emotion, and those sometimes have to be somewhat separate. So there's a little anecdote for you on, a crash course of how to manage emotions as character versus self.
I don't know how I'd be able to do that.
It's again, that's why I love that, because there's a craft to it, and everybody has their own, which I think is awesome. What works for me doesn't work for somebody else. What doesn't work for somebody else, is perfect for me. So it's all about just finding, and that's why they say it's a 10-year overnight success. It takes a long time to find your voice as an actor and how you prepare for roles.
I could imagine. I don't
It's
know.
fun.
No, I
It's
don't know
it's a
how you do
blast.
it.
It's so much fun. Well, again, it's one of those things where they even tell you, if you don't absolutely love it, if you see yourself doing anything else in this world, don't do acting. But if you can only see yourself as an actor, which I do, you'll figure it out. Like it's act or die, you know.
Never done any sort of acting in my life.
This is somewhat act
Other
well,
than acting dramatically.
act.
I am I am one of
That's
the
acting.
most dramatic people you will
I
ever meet.
I again, I think everyone can act because everyone can be a human. It's just, can you get out of your way to be a human, to be another human while other people stand around and film you? That's the hard part.
Nope.
When there's 15 strangers in a room and you have to cry, can you do it? You know,
I probably could actually. I probably could.
there you go. You're going to be a star, kid. You're going to be a star.
No way. No. No, 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 no.
We'll
No.
start easy. We'll do like a little background role, then we'll get you into day players and then support, and we'll just climb the ladder. You'll find it easier than you think.
Mm-mm, 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 mm-mm. I would probably like be too much of like me
No such
because
thing.
I have like very strong values. I have very strong like beliefs.
Hmm.
I'm very much in my own way.
Hmm. Well, and again, I think that there's multiple breeds of actors, right? There's ones that can do everything across the board. They could basically give you a variety show, right?
Mm,
They can play any sort of role. There's the common man, like Tom Hanks. He can play the average Joe better than the average Joe himself. Um, and then there's the specialty ones. There's ones who are kind of the one-hit wonders, and they play something that's just so in line with who they are that the character is just perfect. And then that's like the only
mm.
thing they ever do because that was the one thing that they could give really well to. And not all actors have a super long star life, and they don't necessarily need to because that's not what acting's about. It's about telling the story. And if you can tell the story really well, great. If you can only do it once, great. You know, we'll take what we can get.
I mean, wouldn't. I was gonna say I had in my head like a one-hit wonder who just came in, done his work, and then got out. But now I've just the name.
Yeah, I was trying to rack my brain too, but I can't.
You mentioned wanting to be part of anything that entertains, reveals truth, or makes someone smile. Which of those drives you the most right now?
Ooh, what drives me the most right now? Um, Probably telling the truth. I think right now in just kind of the world we live in, especially like the advent of AI and just the mass um content on Instagram and everything, and everyone sharing their opinions, which are great. We love opinions, we love perspective. But I think, especially when it comes to filmmaking, when you're spending hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not upwards of millions of dollars, on film and entertainment, I think it's important that there is that truth in it, that there's
Mm,
at least somebody that you can relate to within the cast, and they're telling the right story, they're telling the truth of that character, of that circumstance. And again, I think, I mean, that's the whole, I don't want to say it's the whole reason I've gotten into the industry, but it's always been a very important to me. As we talked about like the Phantom and stuff like that, it's like, Eric isn't he's not just a bad guy. That's why I love playing, the evil characters because there's justification. No one thinks that they're the villain in their story. Everyone thinks they're the hero.
mm.
And so I think bringing the truth to that, and that's something. And I'm prepping a role for a feature film in March who's ex-military and ex-Marine. And so I've been doing a lot of research on that to try to at least give the truth of what PTSD looks like, not just my idea of it, because I've not been to war. I would not do well in war. So the the pursuit for truth and telling the story to the best of my ability and most accurately is definitely what's driving me forward right now. I always love to make people smile though, so it's a
You always
very
make me
close second.
smile, so thank
Yay,
you.
good,
Like
good, good. We need more smiles in this world. We need more smiles.
we really do. We really do.
So thank you for bringing them out.
Oh, thank you. Mm.
My pleasure. Okay, 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 okay. We're not crying, smiling. We're
No,
happy smiling.
we're not crying today. We're not crying today. No, no, no. No, no,
No,
no, no, no, no. This is like to put this into perspective, you have probably worn makeup more than me in my entire life.
really. Well, again, I
That's
mean,
it.
that's a fair assessment with a theater major and somebody in film because we wear makeup a lot. And it's so
Exactly.
funny because sometimes like I'll have a full face of makeup from set and maybe it's an early day, right? It's like a 7 to 7. So I'm out, maybe shopping or something, getting food, and I forget that I'm wearing makeup. And then people like really look at you and I'm like, what is going like, what oh
Yeah.
right, I have an entire face of me. Like I look like perfectly pristine, or you look a little over the top because, camera makeup can sometimes be a little extra. And so, especially theater makeup, my gosh.
Mm. But
I'm
yeah,
not
I just wanted to like put that into perspective. I was like,
that
you've
that is
worn more
crazy.
makeup
That is
than
crazy.
me my entire life.
I gotta tell you, I mean, I love that makeup can make somebody look better, but having to take it off and everything like that, it's just like it's so much time. I just let's just be raw and beautiful. What's wrong with that? What you see is what you get. And if you don't
I
like it,
have
move on.
exactly. How does your motto, perspective drives performance, show up when you're on set or preparing for a role?
Mm. Perspective drives performance is a big one. It's actually a friend of mine gave that one to me, so I kind of stole it, but it's one of those that like you can't gatekeep that kind of a motto. So a lot of that is, when you're on set, when we're doing filming, these are 12-hour days, and you get hopefully an 8-hour turnaround. And that 8-hour turnaround, sorry, not 8-hour turnaround, 12-hour turnaround. Eight of those hopefully is somewhat dedicated to sleep. So it gives you what, four, theater major math, 4 hours left to eat and look over your scene and everything. So maybe I didn't get the greatest night of sleep, right? And maybe a check didn't come through, or maybe I didn't do my meal prep, I didn't do my shopping, and now I'm stressing about food, and now there's a lot of traffic. I had to drive down to OC for the set, and there was traffic, and now I'm really in my head. Perspective drives performance. So if I have the perspective of, ugh, everything sucks right now, nothing's going my way, and like I'm just in a bad mood, well, that's going to really affect your performance. Unless you're playing a character who's kind of in that mindset, then you can use whatever's going on. But or it could be the opposite. Things are going really well in your day, and then your scene is everything sucks. The world's ending. So your perspective of coming into it, the perspective of not only just for the acting of like what's the emotion, but the perspective of I'm going to choose to be joyful today. I'm going to choose to bring all of myself today rather than, oh, I have to do this again. Like that switch in perspective, I'm going to give a lot more if I feel like if I can change my perspective to, I'm so grateful to be here. I'm lucky to have this job and I'm here to entertain. We're making movies versus I'm not getting paid enough for this. They're not bringing me the lunch I want. I'm not getting, the views I want to get. I'm not famous. Now, if I come with that perspective, my performance is going to be all about me, and that's not what acting is. And so, performance, I mean, perspective drives performance is just a reminder to say, hey, if you want to show, how do you want to show up? How do you want to be perceived? How do you want your performance to go? Now, change your perspective.
I'm just gonna
Yeah,
let that sink in.
and scene. Yeah,
And seeing all right,
yeah,
Jesus.
yeah.
Like, yep.
It's
I
it's
have
it's
nothing to say to that because I need to let that sink in.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Let it fester.
I will, because now it's gonna like impact my daily life because I'm gonna use it.
It's definitely informative, and it's one of those things that once you start thinking about it, it's hard to not think about it because as
Mm.
soon as you're aware of it and you're like, I am being a negative Nancy right now. I am being a little shit. It's part of my language, but sometimes that's what it is. And you have to just, and I think to bring in another one for you that my therapist has given me is you're 100% responsible for your emotions and how you show up. So it doesn't matter what happens to you, it is your responsibility to regulate your emotions. Well, no, somebody else did something and you reacted. You didn't respond. You didn't take your time. You didn't check your perspective. So being 100% responsible gives you that power of choice. My day was shit this morning. I hate life. Well, you know what? You get to choose how you're going to show up in the next room. That's your responsibility. You know, when somebody else walks into the room and they're just a complete, hot mess, you don't look at them and go, "Oh, that's my fault. I should go over and help them." No, that's on them, you know? And so once you actually take ownership of that, you start to become aware of what am I bringing into these rooms? If I come to
Mm,
set and I don't want to be here. I want to go home early. That's going to affect everybody else around you. If I show up on set, I'm like, what's up? Today's going to be a great day, guys. Like looking at the grip, looking at lighting, looking at hair and makeup, like, guys, are you ready for the best Tuesday of your lives? And now all of a sudden everyone's like, whoa, okay, cool. Like this feels good, and then the whole energy rises and we're able to make our day. We have fun with it. Because at the end of the day, we're just making a movie. We're not performing open heart surgery. No one's going to die, like, oh, your day sucked a little bit. Well, guess what? You're being catered lunch and you're getting paid to play. Let's check that perspective a little bit. Not to
mm,
say that I'm perfect. I definitely have my days, but once you take that ownership, you realize it really is on you. Um, and that we can leave what we don't need at our feet. We don't have to have the doubt
mm.
and the anger and the being upset, As my therapist says, pain is inevitable, suffering is optional. We're all going to go through pain, but whether you want to suffer or not, that's entirely your choice. We're not here to suffer. We're here to spread joy and love. And I don't mean that in like the woo woo, like everybody hold hand. It's like, yes, hard things happen. There's resistance, there are obstacles, there are challenges. But how you go through that and how you approach them, that's on you. And that's gonna inform how happy you are in life. You know,
You got my cogs turning.
good, good.
It's way too early in the morning to process that. I
Coach
will get home this
Gage at your
afternoon and
service.
I will just like watch this again this afternoon and be like, yep, okay, that actually makes more sense than what I heard.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
it's not that it didn't make sense, it was
No,
just
of
like,
course. Well, I mean, again, these are very deep, um, complex kind of thoughts. And again, taking ownership of something requires practice because we're
mm,
hardwired from the beginning to protect ourselves and to be in a state of fear and what ifs. But we're comfortable, we're safe, like we're not standing in front of a
mm,
tiger. And so the more you can practice that, the more you realize like, oh, and it's funny because I used to get so almost angry and jealous at the people who, just seem to float through life, seem to just always be happy. And it's like, God,
mm,
screw that person, man. Like life's hard, Don't you? Well, of course they have their hard times, but they choose to show up differently. And that's why they're
mm,
happy. And it's like, if that's what's pissing you off about them, then maybe it's time to turn inwards and be like, so what's going on with me? And that's exactly what I did. And I was like, oh,
wow,
I get it now. They're just happy
yeah,
people because they're choosing it. I'm over here
yeah.
judging it and spiraling the other direction and then blaming them for it. That doesn't make any sense. So perspective drives performance, and you're 100% responsible for that.
I'm just gonna leave it there.
Mic drop.
Just walk off stage.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. Lights out, go home, think
yeet,
about it. Yep.
yeet it, walk off. Like,
I would love to do that someday. That'd be great.
what? Just yeet the microphone and then walk off stage.
Yeah, just chuck it and be like, all right, go home. That's it.
I, I'm up.
Think about that one for a while.
What is your biggest fear as an actor?
Biggest fear as an actor. The first that comes to mind is the obvious one of like, I'm not going to make it. I'm not going to have a long career. Um, but that's not up to me necessarily. So I think I've kind of dropped that fear by the wayside. I think my biggest fear would be, and again, not to get romantic about the industry, but or about the craft is my biggest fear is that I'm not going to tell the story the right way, or that I'm going to bring something in that's I don't want to say wrong, but that I come in and I do a job, I think I've prepped this role really well, and then I perform it and someone goes, that's not how they would do this. That's wrong. someone that picks it apart. And it's not even like that was bad acting. It's like that's not how this person would act. In fact, there's research that would show that, simple research that would show that somebody with PTSD might not do this, or somebody who is going through heartbreak wouldn't smile at something like, it's those moments of this person didn't quite tell the truth. And it's funny, I actually was just watching an interview with Leonardo DiCaprio, and he was talking about his role in Django. And, this is a little bit risque, I suppose, to talk about, but, they're doing the table read, and he's with Jamie Foxx and Samuel L. Jackson. And it comes up to where he has to say the N-word, similar to back in that time, that was the language. And he was like, he stopped and he was like, I can't do this. I can't say this, you know? And both Samuel L. Jackson, and Jamie Foxx told him, they were like, dude, if you don't do this, then you're not telling the story. He's like, back then, your people wouldn't have talked to my people. You wouldn't have even acknowledged me. So you would have said whatever you wanted to say to me. And if you don't do this, you're not going to tell the truth of the story. And everyone's going to know that, because if you don't show up as this just brutal, nasty guy that actually existed back then, it doesn't, move the needle on the story. And so the next day he shows up to set and Samuel Jackson's like, yo, what's up? And Leonardo doesn't even talk to him. He's like, what? What's going on? Doesn't even acknowledge him. And he's like, I knew he was ready for the role. And so I think it's moments like that where it's like, I don't want, my biggest fear is that my own perspective is going to get in the way of me doing the best job that I can do and telling the story. Oh, I don't want to, oh, that's not Gage. That's not, I guess it's not Gage. You're playing a role. So I think the biggest fear of an actor is not living up to the role I was gifted with.
You are gifted.
Thank you. Thank you. And every role is a gift. And that's how, I think that's how you have to approach it is you're it's like babysitting, If you show up as a babysitter and you don't give a dang about the kid, who knows what's going to happen to that kid, right? But if you care about it, if you care about the character, you care about the role, you're going to do everything you can to protect it and to serve its best. I don't know where I was going with that, but you know, give it its best effort.
This is a little like get to know you,
Get to know Gage.
Mortals. Get to know Gage.
Some people may not want to. No. I'm kidding. I'm
Don't
kidding.
say that.
I joke. I kid.
Well, I've had so many people message me and be like, thank you for like, they may seem like stupid questions to everybody, but
Hmm.
yeah, a lot of like people have messaged me and be like, thank you for like showing us that they are still human. They
Yeah.
have favorite things.
Yeah.
They have like pet peeves.
Hmm.
Like, it's just, because a lot of people are like, what is your favorite color?
Yeah.
Like,
And,
are
and
you a cat person or a dog person? Like,
right. Right. And those are very informative questions, or at least they can be. Sometimes those answers will be like, "Oh, I wouldn't have thought that of you," or "Oh, that makes sense."
and like one of the questions is favorite music genre. And you
Ooh.
wouldn't have like guessed it about, you know,
Right.
and it also gives you like, it puts it into perspective what your likes and interests are. So like
Right.
when someone watches, say, this and they find out what your music genre is, and you say on like the drama wave, what are they called? Like like interviews that you want to do, and you go, someone was like,
Hmm.
oh, I was listening to music on the way to work today or something,
Right.
and then they would know what sort of music.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah. They'd be like,
And
"Oh
be
yeah,
like,
he's probably
this is
listening
what
to country."
vibe, yeah,
Right.
exactly. So like,
Yeah. No,
I don't know,
and
that's just
it's always nice, a little personal touch, and then it's like, oh, you can relate to them a little bit more. Like, oh no way, he likes that. I like that too.
yeah, ready for them all.
Yes.
Favorite animal.
My favorite animal is a dog for like kind of the basic answer, specifically a golden retriever, because I am a golden retriever. Um, but I would say my favorite like animal, not that dogs aren't animals, is a dolphin. I think they're just so smart. They're just majestic. And my parents have a place in Florida, and my dad and I will take a boat out every once in a while. We'll go fishing, and there was one year where there was just there was a pod of dolphins surrounding our boat, and they were like porpoising right next to our boat, and that's just like they are such beautiful animals. They're so intelligent. They have emotions as well. Um, and I just love the water. I love the ocean. So dogs and dolphins, the DOs,
Mm.
dogs and dolphins.
I'm not even gonna ask the next question then.
Okay.
I think it was cat person or dog person.
Oh, dog
Like,
person, 1000%.
yeah.
No, no hate to cats. I'm allergic to cats. Slightly allergic to dogs, I guess, too. But um, I just they're man's best friend. I am a dog. I love dogs.
Favorite food.
My favorite food is chicken parmesan. And if you need like a genre, it's like Italian. Italian, or I love me some Mediterranean food, like a lamb hero. That's good. But chicken parmesan, I could literally have every day. It is hands down my favorite. I usually judge an Italian restaurant with how good they do their chicken parm. And if they
It's a
have good
chicken
pasta with it,
palmy.
a chicken
It's a
palmy.
palmy.
It's a palmy, and I love it. A palmy on the bobby. It's so good. It's Yeah. And I think it boils down to I'm pretty sure my mom the night before I was born either had chicken parmesan or I knew she was eating Italian at Prego restaurant. It was actually called Prego down in downtown Dallas. And I think I was born loving chicken parmesan. Favorite food for sure.
I don't know what my mum was eating, but yeah.
Vegemite, no.
Oh God, there's nothing wrong with Vegemite.
I'm not saying there is. I'm just saying there were odds that she could have been eating that before you were born.
No, I'm not obsessed with Vegemite like I am with cheesecake.
Cheesecake is phenomenal.
Mm.
Mm,
Uh,
a good cheesecake. I've had
French vanilla.
Ooh, I don't think I've ever had a French vanilla cheesecake. That sounds amazing.
What?
Yeah. I'm a traditionalist. I usually go with the New York with the cherry sauce. Oh yeah. Or a chocolate cheesecake. Those are good. Peanut butter. Ooh, I've had a peanut butter cheesecake before and that was really good too. That's
Ew.
healthy
Peanut
too because
butter's
it's got protein.
disgusting.
Peanut
Peanut
butter's
butter's
the
disgusting.
best.
No
Oh,
way.
wow.
No
Oh,
way.
I live on peanut butter.
I can live off Vegemite.
And that's why we are different. No. That's
Oh.
fantastic. Or hazelnut.
But do you like, I was gonna say, do you like Nutella?
I love Nutella.
Yep,
To the point
we're
where like I can't
friends.
really eat it because I'll eat the whole jar.
You just,
Oh, I don't even bother with a utensil. It's on it's on the
well, you
finger.
gotta because my fingers aren't long enough. Favorite color.
Ooh, favorite color. So my favorite color is blue, to be basic. But my Virgo answer, as I call it, um, it's a scene. It's a scene of colors. So there's two scenes. So bear with me here. The first one is a palm tree. The like really dark green of the base of a frond of a palm up against like a nice royal blue sky. It's just very Caribbean, very island. It's on a sandy beach. So you got kind of just all of those colors in it. Or growing up, this is more of a nostalgic color for me. It's still the same color scheme essentially. A Bradford pear tree, which have really nice green leaves, set against a storm cloud that's rolling in. And I say that's nostalgic for me because that was what we had in our front yard growing up in Texas. And these big storms would roll through, and my dad and I just get so excited with them. We'll stand out there in the yard and we'll watch this storm roll in. And so you'd see this just brilliant green tree against just this stark difference of a dark cloud. And it's this the moment of like, that there's this energy in the air. There's some lightning off in the background, rolling thunder, and you're with your family. It's gonna rain. You're just gonna be inside. Um, so I would say blue to be basic, but I have a definite affinity for dark green, like a fig leaf green. So that's the long answer.
That is-
There's nothing
An answer's
basic
an
about it.
answer.
Yeah.
No, no, there's nothing wrong with that.
I always say if you're not weird, you're boring, you know?
Oh,
So live life weird.
I know that one. Yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
that's my perspective.
Dream country to visit.
Dream country to visit. I mean, you're in it.
Oh,
Australia.
yes.
I want to come to Australia. Um, I really do think that that's the dream. I've never actually been overseas. I've only ever been to Mexico because my friend kidnapped me on a cloudy day and we got tacos in Tijuana. But outside of that, Australia, I just, the people are so sunshiny. The weather is sunshiny. Um, there's a lot to do there. There's so many beautiful scenes. Um, I would say definitely Australia. And then I think the second one would be like Greece. I would love to go Mykonos. What's the other little city over there? I'm not as cultured as I should be, but Australia is absolutely number one. And on my bucket list actually is skydiving in Australia because I think it'd be so cool to just see all of that as you're falling towards it, and then go get a
What?
Foster's and enjoy the rest of the day.
Get a what?
Get a
What's
Foster's,
that?
a beer. Isn't that like
No.
the beer of Australia?
Mm-mm.
What? I guess that's the
No.
American beer of Australia.
Hmm.
What is your staple beer? Like ours is like Budweiser, right? Or Miller.
Well, our staple beer is VB, Victoria Bitter.
Okay, Victoria Bit. Okay.
Bitter, bitter,
Ditto.
Victoria Bitter. And then we have a Great Northern.
Dude, this is
It's,
why I need to go to Australia. I need to just go bar crawl in Australia.
I know, I will take you.
Let's go. Let's go.
I'm gonna come over here then.
I'm down. We need to do some we need to do an Australian vertical.
Oh, come on.
We need to do a vertical about kangaroos.
No,
That's another favorite animal, to be honest with you.
I told you that I had pet kangaroos, didn't I?
Yeah, yeah. I would that would be awesome. I'm sure they're a handful, but or maybe a pouch full, but um don't laugh at my dad jokes.
Favorite season.
My favorite season, most people would think it's summer. Gage is so shiny. He loves the being outside and shirtless. But I would say I'd say it's fall. And specifically September into October. So my birthday is September 6th. So obviously big fan of that. Um, but I love college football. Um, so that usually starts up around then. Um, Playoff baseball is happening as well. So there's a lot of excitement around sports at that time. And then there's just something about, and we don't get it as much in LA, and I'm not complaining, but it is different. But growing up in Dallas, we'd have about 2 weeks of fall. Maybe sometimes even just a week. But those 2 weeks where you get this, you're going from these like 80, 90, 100-degree days, sometimes 110. And then all of a sudden, you get this little crisp wind that just cuts through it all.
Mm,
And you're like, ooh, fall's here. And then the leaves
yeah.
start to change. And then they start to fall. And then you're crunching the leaves on the ground. And mom's making applesauce and meatloaf and mashed potatoes. And it's kind of getting cooler outside. So you can actually play outside for a longer period of time. And then you're watching football. You're going to church on Sunday morning and you're not hot as heck wearing your suit and everything. You're actually comfortable. You come home, you kick it all off, you watch the Cowboys lose. It's great, it's a wonderful time of year. It's usually back to school, and I love school, not for the academic part of it, but for the social part of it. So fall to me just always had this energy to it. Um, but I will say my one pet peeve of the fall, especially in Los Angeles, is when we time change and it just becomes dark at like 4:30 in the afternoon. That's
I know.
just brutal. But I just love, and then Halloween's around the corner. It's spooky season. It's horror film season. It's just great, you know? So I think fall is probably my favorite season.
Favorite actor?
Ooh, I mean, my go-to is Tom Hanks. He's one of those that growing up watching him, it was like, I want to be that. I want to do that. Um, I think he's just got, because I think to play the average Joe, to play the everyday man is the hardest thing to do because you can't overact it. You can't, you know, the prep for it isn't like a Tom Cruise Mission Impossible where you're like, okay, I'm gonna get jacked in it. It's like you're just playing a regular guy. You have to have regular thoughts. Like you have to just really be like to do Forrest Gump. Like, wow, you know? So Tom Hanks is like overall my favorite actor. Um, right now, there's a tie just because of what I've been binge watching. I just got done watching Righteous Gemstones. Um, it's a toss up. D Danny McBride, I think, just is one of the greatest comedic minds. And then Walton Goggins. Walton Goggins, I think, is he's done White Lotus, and he's done Fallout. He has an incredible range, and the way he shows up to roles, I mean, he plays it with full conviction. There is no doubt in your mind that he is that character. Um, he even has, is that in Entourage? What show is that? Where he has a almost like a cameo. Anyhow, um, and then Billy Bob Thornton. I've been watching Landman recently, and Billy Bob Thornton, I mean, just every time that he shows up on screen, you're just like, entertain me. You know, you just know it's going to be a good time. I mean, I could talk about actors for hours, but to keep it short and sweet, Tom Hanks is definitely number one. Um, yeah, we'll keep it limited there. Yeah, Tom Hanks for sure.
Well, then, what's your favorite movie?
Okay. So obviously as an actor, I've done a lot of thinking on these things. This is a Gage personal. This isn't like what's the best cinema, you know, like everyone loves Casablanca, right? It's classic, this and that. My number one movie, again, this is personal. Mrs. Doubtfire, Robin Williams.
Oh my
Sorry,
God,
Robin.
yes.
Robin obviously is that again, to ask favorite actor of all time is just a ridiculous question in a good way, but it's like there's just so many people out there, right? So Robin Williams, Ms. Doubtfire, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, I think is one of the most perfect films ever, like just top to bottom, ever created. It's so much fun. It's set in the 80s, so you don't have to worry about the whole like, well, quick communication. It's kind of like Home Alone in that sense, where it's like you can get away with a lot of these things.
Mm.
And then number three, which could easily be number one for me, is The Dark Knight with Christian Bale. And then Heath Ledger as the Joker. I mean that performance, if you don't feel something by the end of that film, you may not be alive. Because it's just, to me, it's so like it makes me want to run through a brick wall at the end of that movie. Um, and I think that's a true testament of a good film is that if it really makes you feel something, if it incites you to take action and to alter the course of your life, then that's a job well done, you know, from production, from acting, from the whole thing. So Mrs. Doubtfire, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and The Dark Knight Rises. Or sorry, just The Dark Knight. Dark Knight Rises is good too. And then the
I will.
Hangover trilogy. You can't
Oh
rule
my
out the
God,
Hangover
stop
trilogy,
it.
but
That's a yeah.
that's just I mean that's one of the most classic films. And I mean if you want to talk about classics, Step Brothers,
Yeah.
um,
Oh fucking Jesus.
Step Brothers
Yep.
is just so freaking good.
Yep.
Elf. I mean, I'll watch that not even in Christmas season. It's such a good film.
What about
Um,
Borat?
Borat's great. I quote that all the time. Very nice. I like. I have a chair. I have a chair. King of the Castle. Yeah, hit that
Stop
one.
it.
That one's fantastic as well. 21 Jump Street. Is probably
Yep.
one of my most watched movies. That's like I can watch that on repeat all day long.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, that's those are the ones that are sticking out right now.
I only
Um,
watched Dark Knight probably. 2.5 weeks ago.
Wow, lucky you. I'm jealous of anybody who's got to watch that for the first time because it is just Fight Club. Fight Club changed the way I think about things. That thing is.
Really?
Have you seen Fight Club? Okay, well, I can't talk too much about it because I don't want to spoil anything. It's a movie that you can watch twice and have a completely different experience both
Mm.
times. Same with Sixth Sense. You haven't seen Sixth Sense either? Okay.
Nope.
Okay, then I won't ruin that one either.
All
Those are
right,
t-
let's
those are
just.
those are those are two movies. Those are two movies that again, you'll never watch it the second time the same because you know
Mm,
information that you can't unknow from the film. Which again, I think that's, I mean, to be able to watch a film twice and have two different experiences is a huge testament to the filmmakers.
mm, mm. Yeah,
Again,
I'm getting too into this now.
I could talk hours for, like this, you're about to get me to nerd out. This is like my soapbox. Like I
Oh.
love film.
Okay. Cool. Favorite music genre. I'm gonna change the subject.
All right, favorite music genre. It's stereotypical from where I'm from, but I gotta say country. If you're gonna turn on a playlist, it's country music. It's the King George, or we're gonna be doing Brad Paisley or Kenny Chesney, Toby Keith. You know, I love the classics, the originals, Little Willie Nelson. So country is my absolute favorite genre, and I think
I
it's one of those when
finally found someone who likes country
yeah,
music.
again, because I think it's one of those, you either love it or you hate it. You know, some people are like, it's like nails on a chalkboard, and I'm like, yeah, but and again, I'll say it till I'm dead, but you know, I'm being romantic about it. But there's so much storytelling in country music. You know, it's about something. It means something to them. It's not just commercial. I mean, some of it could be commercial, but um, it's usually just feel good or it's, you know, there's an emotion to it. And so it's like if you're feeling sad and you need a heartbreak song, there are some great country music songs to say the words that maybe you don't know how to say. Um, and there's a whole country song about that. You know, it's like, do you wish somebody had the nerve to tell that stupid boss of yours to shove it every time he yells at you? Well, guess what? We do. This is country music by Brad Paisley. Great song. So yeah, I love country.
Finally, I found someone. We're besties now.
Let's go. Let's go. We'll have to go to like Stagecoach. I'll get you out for Stagecoach at some time.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Stop it. Like, I want to. I really
Yeah.
want to.
It'd be fun. Now hopefully the lineup would be, you know, some of the older players because I I listen like on Spotify and I'll be like, oh, like give me a country playlist and like here's country music for you. And like there's a lot of pop being infused into country nowadays. And like that's cool and all, but like take me back to just an acoustic guitar and a fiddle, you know, like I don't need
Mm,
all this drum kits and all, you know, these
yeah.
weird sounds. Like just give me the storytelling.
Mm,
Give me the raw emotion.
mm. Favorite singer and song.
Favorite singer and song. I'm gonna go with Freddie Mercury and Bohemian Rhapsody. Because I think I'm trying to think of songs that when they come on, you just don't skip them. You know, you have to sing along to them. Um, And I've always said, you know, if there's one concert that I could go to, dead or alive, now or in the past, it would have been the Live Aid concert where Queen performed for the last time. Oh, I get the goosebumps thinking about that because I mean, what a performance. Um, and it just meant something too, considering that, you know, Freddie had AIDS and then he came out and performed and I think he actually ended up passing away shortly thereafter. But anyhow, Freddie Mercury and Bohemian Rhapsody, that would probably be my favorite singer and song, which is not country, I know, but or I mean, if you really want like the stereotypical, not stereotypical answer, but George Strait in Texas, his song Texas by George Strait. I mean, come on. That's that's where I'm from. Um,
Why not?
yeah, so it's Freddie Mercury and Bohemian Rhapsody, song and singer. Singer and song. Yeah.
City life or country life?
Say again. Oh, come on. I think I'm gonna let you answer that for me. What do you think?
It's just it's in line. City life, no. Country life for sure.
Country life for sure. In
Yeah.
fact, that's kind of like the goal, live city life, build the wealth, do what I got to do, and then go get my ranch in Austin and just, living off the land would be awesome. If I could just like
Oh
go
yeah.
off the grid and just be, maybe there's a little plot in Australia that I could take too. Australian country. Let's go.
Come on then. This is the one that you've been waiting for.
Oh.
Biggest pet peeve.
Ooh, biggest pet peeve. I know. I thought I had one, and now I've gotten all these other questions in my head. Um, One of my biggest pet peeves, uh, people who chew with their mouth open, man, or just eat loudly, you know? I mean, it's like just close your, like, we're not horses, okay? I can't stand that. And like if we're on set and we're at lunch and I'm hearing you eat, I'm gonna move. Like I'm going to leave the room. Like it's to the point where it gets me that like I get that I'm 100% responsible for my emotions, but those are one of those emotions where I'm just like, you know what? Not today. I'm not dealing with this today. Um, Chewing with your mouth open, or just people who are unaware of the situation of like, okay, we're all kind of being quiet right now, you know? And again, a lot of this relates back to set, but it's like, hey, if I approach you and I'm talking like this, I don't need you talking, it's like, dude, okay, like that it really gets on my nerves. People who are just kind of unaware of like, this is the time to be making a joke or about to, anything like that. So, but chewing with your mouth open, man, just close your damn mouth. I don't need to hear and watch you eat at the same time.
I can see you getting triggered.
There's just I don't need those senses enacted watching you eat. Ugh, yeah.
Move on.
Yeah. Move on from those disgusting animals.
Name three things that you can't live without.
Three things I can't live without. Um, I don't know if you consider it a thing, but number one's probably working out of some sort. It doesn't have to be a gym necessarily or weights, but just like running physical activity. I can't live without physical activity. Um, I can't live without my phone and the internet. I hate to say it, but my job revolves around being connected and networking and knowing what's going on and watching, shows and watching movies and films and everything. I can't, I'm not going to give that up. Um, and then I'm going to try to make this more personal because I was going to say like dogs. I can't live without dogs, but I don't have a dog, so I can't really say that exactly. Um, Something I can't live without. I may have to say my bed, as ridiculous as that answer may be, but
That
I
is not
love my
ridiculous.
bed. I love my bed, especially after a long day of shooting. You just want to crash down and sink into bliss.
Yep.
I think if you took my bed away, I'd be a very cranky person. I'd figure it out. And as much as I'm a golden retriever, I don't like to sleep on the floor. So if I ever did have a dog, he'd probably be sleeping in the bed with me. I'm one of those
My cats
freaks.
sleep. My cats sleep in the bed with me.
Listen, if you're gonna be my best friend, come on, let's go. I
Yeah.
want, I'm one of those weirdos too, and people make fun of me for it. If I'm dog sitting or something, or if somebody's like dog comes over, I give them a bowl of water. I get it from the fridge. I get it from where I get water from. I don't just do the tap. And people are like, don't give him the good water. Why wouldn't I give my dog the good water? If I'm gonna give my dog what I drink, I'm not giving him what I eat, but I'll give him what I drink.
My cats get bottled water only because
Yeah.
our water, I don't know what is going on with our town water at the moment, but it's not filtering
Mm,
properly. So they've just, and plus my cats are really expensive and I really don't need a setback
exactly.
financially right
Right.
before my wedding.
Right. And again, I think it's like, why wouldn't you want to take care of the thing that takes care of you as
Exactly.
well?
Exactly.
Like, and it's just water.
Hmm.
And water's a big deal.
Hmm.
We all have to drink water.
Hmm. Fair. Last one.
Mhm.
Describe yourself in 5 words or less. One sentence, a poem, a quote, a song.
Five
I'm gonna
words.
say musical performance. Like, I don't care. Just describe
Yeah.
yourself.
The first thing that comes to my mind is I am weird and kind. Um, 5 word. I don't think that there are 5 words that you could bottle Gage
I am
into.
weird and kind.
Yeah. I mean,
Like,
there's your five, but
if you have to go over, that's fine. I just put a cap on it to start with. Like,
I'm gonna, okay. If we were to approach it this way and say, what are you gonna get when you meet Gage? You're gonna get um, a loyal friend. You're gonna get an entertainment platform in and of itself. Um, and you're gonna get a hype man. I love hyping people up, lifting up others, and letting them know that they've got the light to shine. Um, I just want to reflect what is being given to me and give it right back. Um, so yeah, so a fiercely loyal, wildly entertaining, and cheerleader in your corner. That's what I would say.
that's
Yeah,
beautiful.
thank you.
And I'm your hype woman.
Yeah, let's go. See, it works out well.
It does. I'm everybody else's hype woman,
Right.
hype girl.
And then that's why I'm your hype person because we gotta hype each other up out here. We gotta lift up the joy and the love, especially those who are helping spread it. So
Exactly. No, that's all my questions done.
that's it. Wow, we
Yeah,
did it. Part two.
we did it. We did
And
it.
scene.
Scene.
That's a wrap.
Holy
Nice.
moly. We're done.
Nice.
Thank you so much
Thank
again for
you.
like
Oh my gosh.
jumping back on and answering all of my
My pleasure.
wildest questions.
If there's a part three, you just let me know.
Yes, there
Because
will be.
this can't end here, you know?
No, it can't. Like it can't.
There'll be a lot
Got
of
more.
new
We got
developments and
more.
everything. Yeah.
We've got more to discuss.
Yes,
Like,
we do. Well, thank you, Maddie, again for just pouring your heart, soul, energy, tireless nights and mornings, just so that you can help lift up others who may not have um, that platform or that ability to reach others. So thank you. I really appreciate it. And thank you for the questions, making me think, making me, challenge the way that I show up to acting and to normal life. So thank you for the very thoughtful and poignant questions.
thank
Of course. No crying.